Yes, guys, and welcome back to We Are Tottenham TV for another pre-match pump up. And my God, do you guys need it today after that United result during the week? Hopefully we can deliver. Hopefully Tottenham can deliver. But welcome back to We Are Tottenham TV. Of course, we'll be doing this pre-match build-up, bringing you through to the live watch-along where I believe Benji's in studio today, gracing us with his presence. And he'll also be running that post-match fan show after, which hopefully I will actually get on to today. But of course, joining us today, we have the one and only Mr. Daigle. Brother, how are you keeping?
I'm keeping good, brother. I'm keeping good. Just the good thing to look forward to is this simply cannot be worse than Wednesday. And I think that's where we got to grab a little bit of hope and inspiration from, that it simply cannot be as bad as what we all had to endure on Wednesday.
Yeah, it can't be. That was painful. That was absolutely painful. I was saying in the last stream we were doing, Daigle, I was about to tell Jack to turn it off after 65 minutes. I couldn't do it. I was so angry with what I was seeing. I just couldn't comprehend it. I couldn't believe it. It was absolutely dismal. Big up everybody in the chat, by the way. Great to see you guys sticking with us. Hopefully we can get the win for everybody today because, my God, we do need it. Now, Daigle, before we get into talking about maybe formation, predicted lineups, the lineups will be on in 20 minutes, so we'll get on to it in about 10 minutes or so. But, Daigle, look, you would say we have a much improved squad this year than what we did last year in terms of numbers, in terms of strength in depth, but the performances have dropped off. We've actually regressed on the football pitch. We're nowhere near where we were last spring. Or playing nowhere near the potential, not creating nowhere near as many chances. The defence don't look as solid as they once were. I mean, Daigle, what do you put that down to? What's going on at Tottenham right now when it comes to performances?
You know what? I've looked at it, but last season when we started turning the heat up and started just walloping teams and playing some really good football, Antonio Conte was down to the bare bones. He had a tight knit squad, and it was all that. Let's do it together. Let's do. Rallying the troops, and he had a small group of people that he was working with, and that kind of spirit, that morale, that confidence, that unity, what was there for all to see. This season, however, there is just I can't put my finger on it. I can't. There's fundamentally something wrong. Whether it been the players that have come in haven't settled in as quickly as we would have thought, whether it be I still don't understand. I mean, obviously he'll be out injured today, Richarlison. Why we bought a player that plays on the left in the centre, and just because we had an injury to the right, it's like you put him in the right. But it's the same with Emerson, who is a right back, but let's put him at right wing back. There just seems to be, and the midfield three, like, do you remember a couple of seasons ago, Mourinho, we all thought the Højbjerg, Lo Celso, and Bye was like the dream ticket, and that was going to be the midfield, and we know how that turned out. And then we saw the three we saw against Everton, which looked breathtaking in the second half, and you thought, right, this is it, that's clicked. Basuma settled in, he knows what he's doing. And then we go to Old Trafford and see quite possibly one of the most pathetic, lethargic 90 minutes of football I've ever seen. So I can't put my finger on it, but it's got to change, and it's got to change quick.
No, 100%. I agree with you. And it does seem a bit weird because some of these players have had, time to get up to speed with Conte's, patterns of play, what he demands from them, etc. And they've had more time to do it than what they did last season. So I do find it very strange. One thing I'm maybe a bit weary of, Brian, is that I have heard past players, and Gary Neville alluded to it on the overlap and stuff like that Conte's system can become so physically and mentally draining that some players just can't cope with it. And I'm wondering, are we starting to see that maybe come true right now, which is a bit annoying. But you know where I'm going to put the blame? I'm going to put the blame at the players, though, like I did after Jose, like I did after Nuno, because, for me, there's certain players reverting back to type, Doherty, Dyer, Davies, and it's just not good enough. It's not good enough. And Wednesday night was absolutely shambolic. Them away fans deserve to get reimbursed for the trip they made. Any fans that around the world that were watching it from home deserve to go for a free eye test paid for by the club. It was absolutely all levels unacceptable. But I do not blame. I do not lay blame at Conte's door whatsoever. I just don't. I think as Spurs fans, we need to show a bit of patience. We can't be looking to get rid of guys or questioning guys after 11 months in the job. We want trophies. We want success. You've got to stick behind a guy that has a trophy cabinet absolutely bulging with them, in my opinion. But look, I think this year, see, last year, Brian, we had a real problem where we were slapping teams so bad and we were so clinical on the counter. We forced teams to sit in and sort of form a middle block and ask us to go on the outsides, which we failed to do. Whereas this season, teams are pressing us. They're pressing the back line, pressing Bentancur every time he touches the ball. United done it brilliantly, pressing that midfield. And they're getting joy out of it. And that's something we need to be careful of. And that's something we need to worry about. On that basis, for me, Langley has to come in for Ben Davies. He's just 10 times better on the board. We have to look. And Newcastle, I think, are the best pressing team in the Premier League. The highest turnovers in the opposition half. They've got the most clean sheets, 5 this season. They've conceded less goals, which is 9. And they also carry attacking threat. So it's going to be a hard game today. It's not going to be as easy as maybe some of us think it will. I know we've got an unbelievable home form. I think we're looking to go 10 on the bounce at home today, and stuff like that. But this is not going to be an easy game. And for me, it all starts. I'll be interested to see how we are in the first 5-10 minutes, Brian, if we're composed, how we're looking on the ball. Because I think if we look shaky, I think it's going to invite Newcastle on. And I think we're going to cause ourselves some real problems.
So what I do have to say on this is, when you were mentioning about the players and them having a lack of playing what you heard from Neville on the overlap and everything, you forgot this happened with Poch as well near the end, where players were like down in tools and everything because of his training regimen. We've heard, and because they weren't, and you look at this, and again, and I'm only touching on this briefly, this becomes because we don't provide the manager with the players he wants. If you, like you said, with Conte, it's not just about the style of play. It's up here. It is very, very like it was with Mourinho. It's very, you have to run through brick walls. If I go at you, you don't go, oh, you're picking on me. You have to be big enough, man enough to take it and run through brick walls and literally do what this man says. And we don't have those players. We don't. And that's the fault of the board. That's the fault of previous managers. That's the fault of when we do hire managers, hiring different managers with different philosophies of play. So when this manager comes in, he's got players that he doesn't want because they don't fit. Blah blah blah. But I'm not joking. Well, you look at the Sporting Lisbon game away when we lost 2-0. This is where I talk about the mentality. They all spoke last season, and everyone, correctly so, they all want to play in the Champions League. It's the biggest domestic cup, or sorry, not domestic, you know what I mean, cup in world football outside the World Cup, like they do with the South American teams and whatever. It is the biggest club cup you can win. And you'd think walking out of that Sporting Lisbon, hearing that Champions League music, knowing that you're where you are, where you want to be, and you're in the big boy competition, that's all you need. I mean, look how many thousands, hundreds of thousands of Spurs fans, when we qualified, had so much joy in putting on our social medias the Champions League music. And was saying, "Oh my God, to hear that wonderful music." And then when people were there at Marseille, and then we play away against Sporting Lisbon, and it was lethargic. You're now in the Premier League playing for one of the greatest managers in world football currently right now, and you cannot put in a performance at Old Trafford. At Old Trafford, it's we're talking a lot more than just what they can do on the pitch with their footballing abilities. You got to look at players now and say the mental part of it and the mental toughness or mental strengths. I say there's a lot of players in this squad that are lacking what Conte desires in mental strength, and we need to adjust it.
No, 100%, and I couldn't agree more with you on in terms of it being mental. And like I said earlier on, Daigle, I put a bit of a video together. Another part of my video is I broke down the squad. Now, where I disagree with you a little is I do think we brought in some good players in here in the summer window. I think we tried to be clever about it by bringing in players that are Premier League proven, where they can hit the ground running in some cases. Bringing in someone like Perisic, who, look, I think he's world class. Maybe he's yet to show it at Tottenham. But I think where the problem lies, Dale, And look, one thing where I do agree with you on the transfer window is, and everyone knows my thought on the defense, and everyone knows my thoughts that I thought we got off to such a great start, but it ultimately ended up falling off a cliff. It was an anticlimax. It's like being promised something by Kim Kardashian and Susan Boyle turns up. You know what I mean? It's not right, Daigle. It's not
That's
right.
an
You know
image I'm
what
not
I
going to be able to get out of my head.
mean?
That's
but but like when you look at the squad, so here's the breakdown of our squad, Daigle, and everybody, make
Yep.
sure you get ready for my video being released Monday. I put a bit of work into it. I kind of rambled on a little bit, but when you look at the squad, right, it's a mix of four regimes. From Pochettino's era, right, you've still got Kane, Son, Hugo, Skip. Fine, no problem. Mora, debatable. Dyer, Davies, Sanchez still here. From Jose Mourinho's team, you've got Højbjerg, Doherty, Sessegnon, Tanganga. And that's not to mention Endom Fat-ass loaned out, the Shitso loaned out, Sergi Reguilon loaned out as well. And then under Nuno, you've got Royal, Gil, Romero, and Sarr. And then under Conte, you've got Richarlison, Perisic, Bentancur, Kulu, Forrester, Spence, Basuma, Langley, and of course, Winks loaned out from the Poch era. So we still actually have a squad that represents still the last four managers we've had here.
Yep.
And that has to change. And for me, this is where the problem ensues. You're asking Conte to pick up a broken plate off the floor and super glue it together with different plates to try and form one plate, one cohesive plate that's good enough to hold your dinner on without the curry sauce dripping out the bottom. And for me, that has to change. And this is why I say we've got to be a bit more patient with Antonio Conte and give him time. Liverpool done it with Jurgen Klopp, gave him plenty of time in the transfer window. They could have sacked him after a year or two. They didn't. They stuck with him, went on to win everything in the game known to club football. Sir Alex Ferguson could have been sacked, decided, well, if I'm going to go out, I'm going to go out my way. Brighton, a load of youngsters, went on to win, what is it, something like 38 trophies in 26 years or something like that. So I think our squad actually represents the hiring and firing of the managers we've been doing. So going from Poch to Jose Mourinho, trying to bring in players to please him, then sacking him 17 months later, bringing in Nuno, sacking him 4 months later, and now bringing in Conte, and we're already moaning and giving out, and he's not even 11 months in the job.
Yep.
In order for things to change at Tottenham, I think, and this is just my opinion, we're going to have to accept it's going to take a few more transfer windows, and we're going to have to sit here and be patient under one manager and let him build a squad in his mold and let him bring in transfers that he wants in here and make sure the majority of the squad are sort of his players, in my opinion. I don't know what you have to say to that. What do you think, David?
So I mean, obviously, Jack, I could go down a massive Levy out kind of tangent right now, which I'm not going to do. I'm not going to do. What I will say is I am totally with it that it could take a few windows. I get that. I'm not, oh, now we got Conte, we go. I don't think all of a sudden Levy goes, here's a blank check, off you go, spend. But what I do expect is that when we do go into these windows, we spend in the vital areas that we all know we're crying out for. We know we are crying out for a centre back, maybe even two, because we need to elevate the quality and the strength in depth in that area. Go sort that out. Even if you buy one of the two, we know we needed a better right wing back. We've got 3 on the books, 4, 5 if you want to put people that we can convert into a right wing back. I believe only Spence is good enough or will be good enough. Creative midfielder. I get these things. I get that it will take time. I'm perfectly fine with that. But if we adjust it in the right areas, if we've got a centre back right now or in this window, I'm not going to say Bastoni because obviously he wanted to stay at Inter, and I get that, and I actually admire him for staying loyal to his club. Then when Romero was out, there would have been an easy person to come in. Then we wouldn't have had to rush Romero back and see the players that he's put. Fundamentally, like you know, David, I constantly use and give you credit for the thing that you say about when we got rid of Carl Walker. We have spent more than the 50 million we bought in trying to find the right one, and still haven't found the right one. And apart from Spence, every time we sign one, somehow they got worse than the one we bought before.
Come on! Southampton, I believe, are after equalising at the Gooners. Come on!
Thank God. Thank God. Fantastic. I've lost my train of thought, and it's worth it.
I'm just going to double check that. I'm just going to confirm that. Some people in the chat
you do that. So yeah, this is the thing. What I think we need to do is we just need to I understand it's going to take time. I can kind of get that, but listen, this January or next summer, if Conte says I want this player, and I'm not going to give names, even if the player is rumored to want to stay at that club, how do you know unless you start putting bids in? How do you know unless you say we have registered a 50, 60, 30, whatever it is, and then see how it goes between the clubs, or if the player then says, "Oh, do you know what? Tottenham have made this official. I wanna try my luck in the Premier League, or if they are in the,
Mm,
we need to stop being monitoring the situation FC and everything that we are. It's going to take time. I get that, but whilst you've got Conte, you have to use it to give
100%.
him what he needs.
100%. Couldn't agree more. And hopefully now that we've got that stable base that we need of solid pros, because we got to remember, we had to get rid of the Welsh mafia, the French mafia, the cricket games being organised in the dressing room when we're losing games. Players that came here took the piss out of this football club. So we have had to have a massive transition to try and get rid of all that. And I just say to people, look, Conte has a mix of players from different regimes, and we need to just kind of lay off Conte a little and just give the guy a bit more time to settle in. He's not even a year into the job yet. But Daigle, team selections. I mean, look, first of all, we're going to start with the formation. Understand why we played the 3-5-2, but it just didn't work. And I don't get this. We can't play the 3-4-3. Why can't we play Perisic up there? Why can't we give Gill a chance? What's the point of keeping Gill around here if you're not going to give him minutes? Play Perisic up there. Try something a little bit different. For me, I want to see the 3-4-3 today. I think the 3-5-2 works in certain games. The reason why it didn't work against United is because we specifically went out there to set up for a point. The back line weren't good enough on the football. They were shambolic, which ended up leading to the midfield sitting so deep. When we did turn the ball over and get it to Kane and Son, they were so isolated. They couldn't do anything with it. And there was no runners up there, no wing backs getting forward, no centre midfielders getting forward for them to lay the ball off to, running in behind. So, I mean, it caused us massive problems against United. And where I'm at, I want to go with the 3-4-3 today, despite injuries to Kulu, despite Lucas Moura not being fit in Conte saying in his press conference. I want to see Perisic up there today. I think with the 3-4-3, if we played that against United, they wouldn't have been able to rotate the ball from left to right the way they did across that back line, because we would have had an extra body up there to hopefully press and stop that. So I want to go with the 3-4-3 today. What do you want to see formation wise?
So do you know what? Like I said, I've been banging on about 3-5-2, 3-5-2, 3-5-2. I think that's what he is going to play. I think that's what he is going to play today. But I would, like we were talking about on your show before, I want to see Perisic up top. I wouldn't mind seeing it and putting set, but if I do, I want to see him on the right. Now we know he played bad against Leicester as a right wing back, but I think if you make Perisic a right winger, like the Kulusevski's been doing, and he hasn't got that overriding need to rush back,
Mm,
we may see a very different Perisic. You can't see him playing on the left side
mm,
because we know Son's going to be playing there. And I've said it before, and I'll say it again. I am a fan of Sessegnon. I really believe he is starting to. There's people. I mean, there's more people that are not a fan of Sessegnon that is. But I honestly think if he could just get his head around trusting his body and getting to the byline and putting the cross in and stopping this stop start, he's going to be a wonderful player. Defensively, we know he can do a job. Sessegnon is definitely the better left wing back as defensively. But if we are to see 3-4-3, I only want to see it if it's Perisic playing that right winger,
yeah.
not Lucas Moura, not Brian Hill. I want to see Perisic, but I think it's going to be 3-5-2.
Yeah, I think so, unfortunately. But for me, I would like to see Perry Perisic up there bringing a bit of that hot sauce, baby. That would be nice. Sorry to bring it back, but Rooty Tooty's put in a comment. And look, I like Rooty Tooty, but this is just my thoughts. He says, Dave, come on. Conte is a world class manager. Supposedly, he's had long enough to settle in at 20 million a year, whatever he's getting. Look, by all means, question how much he's getting and everything else. But I pointed out the facts. The squad's not his. It's a mix of the last four regimes. He's trying to piece it all together until this squad is his. And until any manager comes in here and he gets to rotate the squad fully to his liking, Don't expect trophies at this football club. Liverpool done it with Klopp, proven. Let him mold the squad in his name, the culture, the DNA, and everything else around the club. Went on to win everything in world football. United done the same with Sir Alex Ferguson. Arsenal are now getting the rewards by doing it with Arteta. The proof is in the pudding. You've got to stick by a guy. The reason why we are where we are, and look, we can blame the owners, rightly so. We can blame the players, rightly so. But we've also got to look at the hiring and firing of managers. Not giving any manager more than 17 months in the job since Pochettino's sacking to be able to get a grip on what's going on at Tottenham Hotspur. You know, you can't keep blaming everything on a manager when Doherty has failed us under Nuno, failed us under Jose Mourinho. By the way, did you see Doherty's quote yesterday about Jose Mourinho? 2 years too fucking late. Davies has only ever been really back up here. Failed us under Jose. Back up to Poch's squad. Failed us under Nuno. Same as Eric Dyer. Same as Davison Sanchez. You know, how do you expect Conte and our team to keep clean sheets, play out from the back when we've got guys like this, where unfortunately you put them out there, you just do not know what they're going to give you on that day. You're hoping they're going to play well, but you can't sit here and say, yeah, I expect a massive performance from them today, because you don't know what you're going to get. And here's my point. We can go down the hiring and firing route. Now, we don't have the money at Chelsea, so we'll never get away with it. But what we will end up doing is being like Watford, and we'll slowly go further down the league. That's the way we were heading before Antonio Conte got here, by the way. So I think where we're at now, it's just important to actually leave a manager in here for 2-3 years in the job and actually let's see what he can do. Give him another couple of transfer windows. And look, people can sit here and question his world-class ability. I mean, the guy's got everything that Tottenham fans want, which is trophies. They're bulging to get out his trophy cabinet. He signs them every day. So let's not question his ability as Tottenham fans when the guy has trophies, which is something most Spurs fans crave. But anyway, going to move on.
Yeah, I just want to say one thing about this and the wages. And also, I've just seen the lineups, and people
I'll get them up now.
Russ is out, he's in. So,
he's supposed to be on maternity leave.
Yeah, but exactly, this is the mind game. But what I will say about this comment, and this isn't a stab at Rooty or anything. This is me saying it. I hate it when people say, "Oh, he's on 20 million a year or 15 million a year." Well, do you think that Antonio Conte went into contract negotiations, and when the board said 15 million a year, he turned around and went, "No, don't stop. That's way too much. Give me 6. Give me. I don't want to." If someone comes in and offers you a ridiculous amount of money to do something, you're going to do it. You're going to do it. This is the thing. He needed to make a move on getting this man in. Levy had to do it at all costs, and this was the cost. This man is world class, and when he's backed, he wins shit. Let's have a look at this.
And I just quickly, I just want to add to this comment here. Rudy says, "Well, Dave, but Conte makes basic mistakes, particularly game management." Look, every manager makes mistakes. Sir Alex Ferguson made mistakes at United. Klopp made mistakes at Liverpool, but ultimately they were stuck by him. Look, any manager that comes in here and has to mix and piece four different regimes together, they're going to make mistakes because it's not fully their squad. So it's going to happen. I think we just have to accept that if I'm being brutally honest. But look, let's have a look at the lineups. They're out. Hugo Lloris is in goal. The return of the Mac. Emerson Royale at right wing back. Oh, God, again. Sanchez, Dyer, and Langley in across the back three. Happy with Langley, not with Sanchez. Session at left wing back. We've got sticking with the 3-5-2. Skip, Bentancur, and Basuma in the midfield. No Højbjerg. Look, he looked tired at the weekend, but I'm going to point out why I think he's going to be a huge blow. And Kane and Son up top. Look, I'm going to start with Højbjerg, Daigle. We've had 1 goal and 1 assist all season from open play, come from the wing-back situations. So they're not creating anything whatsoever. The person in the team that has been creating has come from the middle, which has been Højbjerg. 3 goals, 3 assists. Third highest scorer in the club, and also the most assists in the club, joint most assists. He's going to be a huge miss today. Whether people like it or not, he has been the creative one from further back the pitch. We've asked for players to chip in with goals and assists. Højbjerg is doing it. He's going to be an absolutely massive blow. Daigle, do you see any Skip, Bentancur, Basuma maybe picking up that Højbjerg role today?
Listen, I was just on your channel before wanting to see Ollie Skip, demanding to see Ollie Skip. In all honesty, you look at that performance against United, the only one that you could say was guaranteed or deserved to be in the next team is Hugo Lloris. And I still was questionable about him. The performance against United was simply unacceptable. And if we had a big enough squad to have made 11 changes, I'd have made 11 changes just to say this is unacceptable.
Yeah.
You cannot play like this and expect
But
to
was
get
the
away
right
with it.
midfield arrested in your mind though? Like Basuma?
Do you know what, Dave? When I look at it, he has been our best midfielder, but bar none this season, and probably one of the best in the Premier League. But what we got to remember with Højbjerg as well is the sheer amount of minutes and games this man plays.
Yeah, very true. Very true.
You look at this. I mean, the last game he missed was the game you and me went to, Wolves 2-0. That was in February, and he's pretty much played every single minute of every single game
Yeah.
for both club and country. So we all joke about he's a Terminator, he's a Viking, he's this, he's that, but it is going to catch up with you. He was very, very, very poor, but so was Basuma, who was exceedingly poor, and so was Bentancur. But what I will say is the last time this happened to Højbjerg, he had one game rest to have a fully recharge, because that's all it takes him, one game, and then he's ready to go like the Energizer Bunny again. He'll come back and he'll be just as good as he was. But
Yeah.
we've got to remember, forget was he the worst one against Man U? I don't believe he was. But has he played the most minutes? He's probably played more minutes than most of these team players put together.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
on that
Do you
note,
think? Do you think Højbjerg was maybe rested? Not. Look, for me, I think if he wanted to make a statement from the United performance, he could have either dropped Basuma or Bentancur, because they were worse
Yeah.
than Højbjerg on the night, in
Yeah.
my opinion. Do you think potentially it's one eye looking at Sporting during the week, because that's a fucking big game, man?
Do you know what? There's another thing. There is another Colossus thing. There is another very, very big thing that I didn't think of. That I think that makes more sense than what I just said. In all honesty, you got to look at it. This game against Sporting Lisbon is vital, is absolutely massive. And you know what? Like Kuva was saying, and like we were saying when we were Ollie, one thing Ollie Skip will do is if that crowd is low or it needs, Ollie Skip will go in with that crunching tackle. He will do something, and everything Ollie Skip does, if it's like that, the crowd, because he's one of our own, will get rejuvenated. Will start. So I think I think people were saying Skip has looked way off the pace when he's come on, and you know what? Sometimes he is like that, but he started off slowly because he's got to grow into the game he's come on. But I think starting on a full game and getting a full game, I think Skip will do very well today. So I'm happy to see him.
I'm very, very excited to see Skip, actually, Brian. I think, it's been a long overdue sort of return. I think he'll be absolutely chomping at the bit to get out there and maybe throw his 2 pence worth in on why he should be playing in that midfield. And you were saying earlier that, Conte absolutely loves Skip, and rightly so. And hopefully the guy can come in and put in a really good performance today. However, be interesting to see who's the one tasked of getting forward. Who's the one tasked of sitting in that middle tree? With Højbjerg out, I wonder, will it still be Basuma, or will maybe Skip or Bentancur drop in there? Be very, very interesting to see what happens there. But yeah, interesting. I was reading the reactions to the lineups here along the side on the Tottenham Twitter. And fair funny. I'll read a couple of them out, and then we'll move on and talk about that back line. So straight away, F off. Why is Emerson here? Oh dear God! Oh dear! Oh dear! Romero injured as per. Emerson is back. Sanchez and Emerson with a crying emoji. Absolutely brilliant. Spurs fans don't seem to be too happy with the lineup. Guys out there that's tuning in and building up to this game with us, let us know in the comments. Are you happy with the lineups? Do you agree with the changes made? Are you happy that Conte made changes, or are you worried and do you completely disagree? Do let me know, and why not make it a super chat and get it in here to myself and Daigle to discuss. But Daigle, I want to changes across the back line.
Yep.
I got one I wanted. The other one I didn't see coming, to be brutally honest, which was Sanchez in for Romero. Look, I know some people like Sanchez. For me, he was completely showing up against Leicester, got his start, gave away a penalty inside the first few minutes, and it sort of typical Sanchez fashion. I'm worried by that guy today, but I'm buzzing to have Langley in. I think if we want to play this modern way, this modern type of football, Langley has to play. He's got a better passing range. He's a lot more comfortable on the ball. And for me, there's not too much difference defensively between himself and Ben Davies. So I'm absolutely delighted to see Langley in here. Hopefully, it'll help us transition the ball a bit better from the back line today.
Yeah, I mean, Romero, I could see again being like what you said with Champions League coming up, and it's resting. But listen, I will always speak very. I'm very outspoken, and I'll speak how I see it, and these are my views. But this season, Romero has been shocking,
Yeah.
shocking. Not just because, and yes, he's our best defender by a country mile, and yes, when he's on form, he's incredible. But let's call it as it is. He has been woeful compared to last season. He got rushed back from an injury. Now, don't get me wrong, Romero's part of fault for that because we've heard he's always buzzing and he's always like, "Let me play, let me play, let me play." But we don't have as good, and he has not been to the standards he set himself. So you do need to freshen it up. I think Longley coming in offers you that ball playing aspect to the game, which Romero sometimes offers us when Longley's out. So I can see that. But do you know what? Like I said, what I wanted to see from Conte today was showing some accountability and saying to players, these kind of performances aren't acceptable. And when it does, I'm going to ring the changes. And he has done. He very, very much has done. So now we see if the players rise to it. So yeah, I can see why he's done it in the centre. I really can see why he's done it in the centre. But again, Dyer's always going to start, isn't he? If he's fit, he's the conductor, as people say, and he's the one that
He's no backup.
communicate.
He's got no one challenging him, so he's
Exactly.
got to play regardless. But you know what, Brian? His sort of role is someone you can roll him out every single game. He's not really tasked to do a whole lot, if we're being brutally honest, you know. But look, interesting. I just hope Sanchez and Dyer don't make each other nervous because I do see a pattern at Tottenham emerging. When one of them makes a mistake in the game, rather than someone go, "It's okay, brother, I got you," you know, the next person makes a mistake, and it's compiled by like 2 or 3 on the trot,
Yep.
and it's absolutely buffoonery in its tallest order. And I just hope that Sanchez, Dyer, Royale alongside them, they can actually put in a nice cohesive performance and maybe ease some of the Spurs fans' tensions, because tensions are really high after that performance at Old Trafford. But look, there you go. Let's get into the wing back area. Session, I kind of thought would start, if I'm being brutally honest. Not surprised he's in there. Not sure Perisic is working out, and the wing back defensively he is suspect. That's why I wanted to see him in a 3-4-3 today. I'd be interested to see if Conte decides to switch it up at any stage. But the biggest talking point, Emerson Royale back after suspension, Brian. Slammed straight in there and Matt Doherty. What's your thoughts?
So first of all, this watch along that I'm doing with you on your channel is going to be a lot of fun because you know that I try and stick up for Sanchez, you try and stick up for Emerson. I'm a fan of Sessegnon. I think this is going to be a spicy watch along. If it's a boring game, you and me going back and forth certainly won't be boring.
Yeah.
Sessegnon I like as a player. I really do, and I think he is coming on leaps and bounds. And the one thing I will say compared to him and Perisic is Sessegnon by far is the better defensive wing back. He did it with Salah. He did it on multiple games last season. And I think there is a player in there still to come through. Hopefully his development will really kick on this year with Perisic. Emerson Royale. So as I said to you on your channel, in my countdown of who I would have wanted to play at right wing back today, Spence, Doherty, Fraser Foster, Paratici, Conte, Donna Cullen, then maybe Emerson. Then maybe Emerson. It's got to the point now. Do you know what it is? I get he can offer stuff defensively. I get that he's very shaky at times, but he can when he has his good games. And we talk about Emerson was okay or Emerson had a good game. It was when he did it. Defensively. Going forward, and we're talking about, like you said, the wing backs causing no creativity. He is a big part of that. He is a big part of that.
Yeah, 100%. I couldn't agree more. I'm going to share my thoughts on Real now in a second. We've got a super chat here from Adrian Chia. Adrian, brother, it's great to see you in, my man. Great to see you in. I really appreciate it. And he says, Pulak, Virgil van Dijk, and still lost to Forest. Just saying. Look, how do I go about this? Understand what you're saying, but I mean, Virgil van Dijk has won the Premier League, the Champions League, the League Cup, the FA Cup, and the Club World Cup. I mean, let's not use that as a barometer to measure how good Dyer, Sanchez, and Davies and some of these guys are at the back line. They don't have trophies. They're still trying to do what Virgil van Dijk has done in the game. While Virgil van Dijk was at Celtic, some of these guys were at Tottenham and still haven't done what they've had to do. So I would put it to you this way: who's had a better rise in the game? If anyone can have a bad game, who are you more than likely going to accept having a bad game? Virgil van Dijk over anybody we have at the back line. I just encourage people, let's not use this as a barometer on how good, to measure how good some of these players are, because Virgil van Dijk has won everything in the game at club football, let alone winning stuff at Celtic, by the way, as well. But look, back to Emerson Royale. Look, the whole reason why people were calling for Matt Doherty to come in was because they've told me Matt Doherty is better going forward. Now, let's actually be realistic and honest with ourselves. Let's take emotions, feelings, and everything out of this. What did Matt Doherty do against Brighton going forward? Silence says it all. What did Matt Doherty do in the first half against Everton going forward?
Oh, you were actually asking me. Okay, I thought you were rhetorical.
No, I'm just saying. But the fact that you didn't feel the need to interject says everything. You know.
Brighton didn't know. Brighton was okay. Brighton, it was his first game.
The point is, Daigle, people said they wanted him coming in here because he was going to add more going forward. What did he do going forward against Brighton? Emerson could have played that defensive game against Brighton and not done anything going forward. The difference is Doherty got praised for it. Emerson would have been absolutely ridiculed for that. Now, Doherty also didn't do anything against Everton up until 41 minutes, where eventually he decided, do you know what? I'm actually going to show a bit of cojones and I'm going to try and skin my man. And then won a free kick. And then went on to have a good second half. But you should not have to wait till halftime to get an absolute bollocking off Conte.
That's been a lot of the players, though, David. That's been a lot of players.
I get that. But Doherty especially, he's been out with injuries. Okay. He has a point to prove and he wants that right wing back spot. Now, if I have a point to prove and I want something, I'm going to make sure I'm ready. And I'm going to make sure when I get given the opportunity, I'm going to do the right things. And I'm going to do what the other wing back hasn't provided, which is going forward, putting crosses. Because Doherty can do it. We've seen he can do it. But then against United, he absolutely point blank refused to do it. Every single time he got that ball, he passed it inside to Bentancur. And at one stage, Perisic looked over at him, threw his hands up and started bollocking him. And I understand why. Because Doherty, all you got to do, you're in a better position. It's about the angle, with the ball in between that back line and the goalkeeper, get someone on the end of it. What he ultimately ended up doing was passing responsibility inside to Bentancur. Bentancur then whipped it in. And the way he whipped it in from the angle, the only way we were going to get was a looping header off it, and you're never going to score. Perisic bollocked them for it, and rightly so. So on that basis, with everyone saying Doherty would do more than Emerson coming in going forward, I'd argue he didn't even get as forward as Emerson does. At least Emerson gets forward. At least Emerson tries to do the right thing. Now, it doesn't come off. But I would rather have someone in there that actually tries to do the right thing and play the right way than someone that is just plain scared and refuses to do it and is weak and passes on responsibility. There's no excuse for Doherty against Man United. What was the first thing Jed Spence done when he got the ball? Attack their fullback. Absolutely attack them. And that's what we want to see. Get down there, get balls in, create havoc. And I have no problem with Emerson being back in here today. I think it's a fair call. I think rightly so. I really do.
Like you said, I mean, this is the thing. The unfortunate thing is, like you said, David, and I was going to credit, is this right wing back has been an issue, or right back, whatever formation, whatever manager we have, has been a problem since Kyle Walker. Has been a huge problem since Kyle Walker, and it's come to the point now where we all have our views on three of them, as in Spence, Doherty, and Emerson, but not one of them we could say is a resounding. Everyone wants to see him. Everyone wants that player. Everyone. Because when it was Kyle Walker, if Kyle Walker was there, you say Kyle Walker, Kyle Walker, Kyle Walker, Danny Rose, and so on and so on. And we haven't got that now. We haven't got it. And it's been what? Kyle Walker left, 6-7 years ago?
Yeah.
Whilst we're still at Wembley, and it's like we're still trying to find that one to say, right, that position is tied down for as long as we can. We have found the solution. We have found the next, right, this is our guy. And that's the problem. That's the problem. We've had lucky dip with right wing backs and left wing backs.
Would you take Trippier back, Brian?
I didn't want him got in the first place. Trippier, if
Did
you
you know?
look at
I did.
so when Kieran Trippier left, you got to remember after that World Cup in Russia, where he was brilliant for England,
Yeah,
he came back and big up my brother Bobby. He came back and he played a lot of that season through pain with injections where he should have had
fair.
surgery. He should have had surgery, but the club once again, no, we can't afford to have you out. You play through the pain. And then obviously what came out after behind the scenes, I don't really want to talk about that because obviously Trippier said it, but Kieran Trippier, if we had Trippier now in an Antonio Conte right wing back, Jesus Christ. Jesus, this guy would be. No, he offers again dead balls. I really, really didn't want Trippier to live. That's a bit harsh. I didn't want him to leave. I
I'll
didn't
be
want.
honest. After the Champions League final, I didn't.
Yeah, I didn't want him to leave. I think he's a great player, and I think in this system under Conte, he would have excelled.
Do you know what? Sometimes you got to be careful what you wish for, and this is what I say with people who don't want Antonio Conte. Look, I wanted the guy gone. Personally, I thought that season he was exposed time and time again that right hand side. If you go back and look at it, the intelligent teams, the first thing they done was put balls in over Kieran Trippier's head, and the amount of goals they were getting off it because the guy could not deal with it. What did Liverpool do in the first few minutes? Ball down to the right, over Trippier's head, in behind, went on to win a penalty. And at the time, I really wasn't happy. But right now, right now, I definitely take him back for sure. For sure. But Brian, look, we've got a couple of super chats to get
Let's
to.
deal with them.
We've got Christopher Beavis. He says, skip in, Basuma, get on the ball and make things happen. Could that be the guy in the middle today that Conte is maybe releasing the shackles off and taking off the handbrake and saying, Basuma, go and do your thing for that. You done it right.
Yeah, I think just like Christopher's saying, I think Skip plays the quarterback or the deep sitting midfielder today that will do that kind of work to give it to Bentancur, and we'll see a different role that Basuma has had when he's
Do you
come
think
on
we'll
the
see a
bench.
different Basuma?
I think. Well, we see. Listen, if you take that defensive responsibility off him or that deep lining, we know when he gets forward, he can carry the ball forward and do it with great effect. So you're asking him to play two different positions. It's two. Yes, he's playing in midfield, but it's two different kind of styles of midfield play that he's going to be asked to do. So, do I think we may see a more influential Basuma, a more prominent Basuma? Yeah, I do today. I do. And I like I said, I am a huge fan of Skippy. I love him. I think he is honestly future captain. And I think this could be it. Who knows? This could be the midfield three that
Yeah,
obviously may unlock the creativity part of what we've been lacking. Because
yeah.
Basuma, sir, he's got to try and tweak and find that combination. If he does go for a three, that is the right that can offer all areas of what he needs. And this is a start. This is a start. What about you, David?
I'm just still trying to gauge whether. Look, I do think Bentancur be one of them midfielders playing off the side, hoping to get forward, turn the ball over. He's been playing there ever since he's got in here. I'm surprised he stuck with him, considering that Antonio Conte is reportedly very unhappy with him after the Man United game. But I'm just trying to work out whether it be Skip or Basuma tasked to be doing it on the other side and who'll be tasked to sit in there. I think for me, it would actually make sense for Skip to sit in there and release the shackles off Basuma. Let him get on the ball, let him roam forward, and let him see. Let's see what he can offer because. You know, remember when he picked up the ball against us, drove at Harry Winks, put a ball into the back of the net. It was in a cup game, I believe. You know, I want to see that Basuma. I haven't seen that Basuma since he's arrived here. So hopefully he actually gets the shackles taken off him today and we let him roam forward. And let's see if he can impact the game. Adrian Cheese says, to clarify, you can have world-class defenders, but if the rest of the team don't turn up, you still get beat. Likewise, our forwards bailed our crap defense many times. No, look, 100%. I fully get that. Fully get that, and I fully get your point. But the point is Liverpool are going through a rebuild. They've won absolutely everything there is to win in club football. What have we won? What have we won when they were there winning absolutely everything? Absolutely not. And this is why I'm very dubious about us comparing Dyer to Virgil van Dijk, you know, us to Liverpool. Look, losses are going to happen throughout the course of the season, and I get your point. I get the point you're making, but they've won stuff. We haven't, and ultimately, you know, they're going to have that drop off because they need to rotate the squad. Us, we're ahead in terms of the rotation where Liverpool need to go. And it doesn't look like we're going to go on and do win everything there is in club football. So, look, I get you though, Adrian. I get you. Big up, buddy, and I hope you're keeping well. Hopefully, you're having a good day. What time is it over there, my man? Let me know. And then we've got Dermotron. He says, I am not happy with that lineup. And Dagley reflects a lot of the comments on social media in here. He says, Sanchez is a mistake. Dyer is a mistake. Or Sanchez has a mistake in him. Dyer has a mistake in him. And at least Emerson will try and run at them. Very worried, but come on, you Spurs. Daigle, do you think Spurs fans have a right to be a bit worried about this lineup today?
Well, you got to remember as well. Let's add another player into that mix that forgot. Lloris has a mistake in him, and we've been and his back and his playing from the back has been not the greatest. And it's something I moan about a hell of a lot. It gives me a heart attack every time he does it. Spoiler alert, if he does it today, you may hear me screaming, and adjust your headsets accordingly. People watching the watch along, because you're going to see it. I get very, very frustrated. Listen, Davinson Sanchez, and I try and stick up for this guy, not because I think he's a brilliant player or anything, but we've seen when he comes in, and I've said this before, when he comes in for the odd game here and there, normally he puts in a performance. You see players that come back from an injury that need to get minutes in their legs or don't play regularly, they need to get minutes in their legs to find form. Sanchez seems to come in on form and then gets worse the more minutes he plays.
Yeah.
I've never seen a player do this. Like, if you need him to come in for 2 games, he can come in and do a good job. Not brilliant, not amazing, but he can do the job. But then after that, that's when he goes, oh, I've reached my peak, let's start. So when it comes to him, I'm not that concerned about him coming in for a one-off game. I'm not. I really am. I'm not. Do I understand that he's got a mistake in him? Oh, 100%. 100%. But as you said, Dyer does, Royal does, Sessegnon does, Lloris can. We can't live this game going, oh, well, he may have a mistake in him. That's part of football. Steven Gerrard slipped in the most important moment of Liverpool's history.
Yeah.
You don't expect that of him. He's a world-class, or was a world-class player. It happens on a football pitch. Everyone. Harry Kane skied a penalty. That's a mistake. Everyone on the pitch can make a mistake. Is Sanchez prone to them? Yes. There's no getting away from it. Royale, like I said, Royale and Emerson. This is. Do you know what? I can't remember such a divide on a player. I really can't remember for a long time. Like I said, defensively he can put in a shift. Offensively, questionable. Defensively, let's just hope he doesn't put any rush bloody tackles in like he did at the Filth.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. Big up, Dermotron. Really appreciate the support, brother. What I will say, though, Dagan, is when you look at it, right, we've got some players out there that has a point to prove. Emerson Royale, Sanchez, Langley want to take that place off Davies. Sessegnon will eventually want to nail down that left wing back. Skip and Basuma have been given a chance to kind of nail down their spots. So today would be a really, really good test of our squad in general, of the whole squad. See what these guys coming in can do. Can they step up to the plate when needed? Well, let's see. Let's see. It's going to be a fantastic test of our squad today. Also, Arsenal and Southampton finishing 1-1. If we win today, we close the gap to Arsenal on 2 points. Now, what I will say is Arsenal having the time of their lives over there. They've got Craig David on the jukebox, knocking down Budweisers with big fat spliffs hanging around out their mouths, absolutely loving life. We're sitting here third, and if we win today, 2 points behind them, and we're having the worst season of our life, according to some fans. So what I will say is it does show the difference in mentality in the fan base, that they're happy with their start. Yeah, even though we're not happy, and if we win, we're 2 points behind them. Very, very interesting. I cannot wait for this. But Daigle, a few stats maybe off about Newcastle and, a bit about your thoughts on Newcastle.
On the Geordies.
On the out Magpies. So everybody get the barbecue ready. Me and Daigle will get the pellet guns out. We're going to shoot down a few Magpies. But Daigle, Newcastle do boast the best defence in the league, only conceding 9 goals. They've kept the most clean sheets in the league this season with 5. They're hard to beat, hard to break down, and they do carry an attacking threat. How important is it that we take the handbrake off, go at them early from the start and try to score an early goal? Because when we don't do that, the game ends up dragging on and we will end up conceding. So it's important we actually just get at them from the off today.
So I'm looking at this. We got told that Joe Linton wasn't playing. He's
Yeah,
playing. We got told Bruno, I can never pronounce his surname, wasn't
Gimenez.
playing because his wife had a child, and congratulations to him and the family. He's playing. So what we thought we were getting is obviously very, very different. Now, I said before the Manchester United game, Newcastle were a team that always concerned me.
Mm,
It's one of those teams, if you remember when the Poch season where we had the seatbelt kind of kit, we lost the first game of the season to Manchester United with Carl Walker own goal, went on a 14-game unbeaten run. Who's the team that beat us in the last minute with the Hugo Lloris error? Antonio Perez or whatever, the guy at Leicester now, Newcastle. When we were due to come second, but we came third in a two-horse race, who did we lose 5-1 to? Newcastle. I have a very soft spot for Newcastle and their fans. Forget the owners or whatever. I love that football club. And when I say love it, I love the city. I love the fans. I love the stadium. It's my favourite away day. And they deserve a bit of luck. And their fans are incredible. Their fans are absolutely. This is no easy game. This is no easy game. Eddie Howe has got them playing lovely football. They are brimming with confidence right now. Um, Bruno, to me, has been the best player in the Premier League outside of the top six.
mm.
Um, they are a very they are a big concern, and these stats, like you said, the most clean sheets, the tightest defence. Um, this could be a big game. So
Huge.
it's like I said, for me, this is tougher than United. This is tougher than United, and the Spurs, we've got to get off to a big start. We all listen. How many times have we, as Spurs fans, this season said we've got to start off fast, we've got to start
Mm.
off strong, and it hasn't. But we have to. We have to. This is
Well,
this. God,
no excuses today, Daigle.
none.
No excuses from anybody today, from them players or anything like that. None whatsoever. At the end of the day, Man United and Chelsea have dropped points this weekend. Liverpool have dropped points this weekend. Arsenal have now dropped points. We have to take advantage. Now, in years gone by, we failed to do it. Games this season where we could have made the Premier League stand up and take notice, we failed to do it. No excuses whatsoever today. I don't care whether there's B players, whether there's rotation players, whatever fluffy fancy name you want to put on these guys. Do not give a crap. I want to see a performance from these guys today. I will finally want to see a Tottenham team grab the game by the scruff of the neck, find their bollocks, and go out there and put on a performance and go and get the win. Because we've seen here in the past, when big teams drop points around us, we also end up dropping points. I do not want to see that today. They owe us a reaction. Anything but a win here today is completely unacceptable, in my opinion. I get Newcastle are playing well. They're a tough team to beat, hard to break down. They've got the highest turnovers in the opposition half, this, that, and the other. Don't care. You want to play for Tottenham Hotspur? You find a way to problem solve on the pitch and you get the job done and get the 3 points. It's all about 3 points today. Nothing else will do, Daigle.
Oh no, listen, nothing will do. And then listen, people in the chat want to say this is meant to be a pump up. We're meant to get excited. Listen, we come on here and I get asked questions. I speak how I feel. This is my opinion. This doesn't mean all
Yeah,
doom and gloom. I'm not going to come on and go, oh, yeah, we're going to smash them 10-0. We're going to play brilliant one touch. I'm not going to
I
say
get
that stuff. I'm not going to say that stuff just for the sake of saying it. Listen, this is a tough game. The Premier League, anyone can beat anyone on their day. Just look at Liverpool Forest.
yeah,
Look at Liverpool Forest. So listen, the most important thing for me, obviously, the 3 points, is this team best come out, like you said, and give everything to the fans that are there and the
yeah,
fans, the millions that are watching around the world. They know how much our weekends, our weeknights, are revolve around what
yeah,
this beloved club of ours do. We bleed for this football team. We'd do anything for the success to come to this club, and they need to be held accountable. And the way they are held accountable is on that pitch when they cross that white line for 90 minutes.
yeah,
Every Saturday, midweek days, whatever, every Sunday. And they need to stand up and be counted and say, listen, hands up, we were fucking dreadful
yeah,
on Wednesday and we apologise. And for that, we are now going to make sure we come out and get that goddamn job done
yeah,
and make sure Conte is listened to and we have to go out there all guns blazing, and just say, right, you're in our house. Now you dance to our tune, and we are now here to show you why we are being spoken about, uh, potentially in a title race. I don't think we're getting the title, so don't think I'm saying that. But top four, we should be up. We should with Conte. This should be we should be in it. And yeah, we just have to go out and give a good account for ourselves. That's all we can
Couldn't
ask for.
agree more. Yeah, it's all you can ask for, unless we lose. I didn't ask for that, and then I'll be pissed off. But Scorpion fans for life says not worried about our defense, but can we score? Look, unfortunately, it has a knock-on effect. If the defense are being pressed and making mistakes and giving the ball back to the opposition, knock-on effect that has to the midfield, they're left running around chasing the football rather than being in control of it. Then the knock-on effect that has to Harry Kane and Son, they're spending long periods without the ball. But because we're sitting so deep and we're pinging it long balls to them, all Kane can do is get a flick on. You know, Son's not magic. He can't read every single one of them. And if the ball comes into Son, he's no one to lay it off to. So it has a knock-on effect further up the field. We have to learn to keep possession. The more possession you have, the more control you are in the ball, the more chances you got to create. So, unfortunately, it has a knock-on effect, my man. But big yourself up, brother. Really appreciate support. But look, we're going to end it here. Me and Diego are busy today. We've got to be somewhere else now in a few minutes. We've got to continue this rodeo. But, guys, we're going to leave you in safe hands. We're going to leave you with Benji from WeAreTottenhamTV. Diego, just quickly before you go, the channel and their score prediction.
Okay, yeah, so I'll be quick with the channel. Tottenham on Tour is where you can find me, Danny Kiriakou, Brian Ireland, Ben Kaufman, Ryan Isaac Kennard. We've had a little time away because things have been happening behind the scenes. I'm coming back to London in just over 2 weeks and back for the rest of the season. So there will be a lot more content coming back your way regularly. And yeah, listen, everyone, thank you for the support of the channels, myself, whether you agree with me or not, hate me or love me, it's all one love. We all want a successful Tottenham. And score prediction, I am going for, listen, I said I either, okay, so my heart is saying 2-1 Spurs.
Go with what you believe, Diego. Go with it. Go with it.
My head is saying 1-1. I
1-1.
want to go with my heart, but I've got a more feeling towards my head. But I'm praying my heart wins today.
Love it. Love it. Well, everybody, Diego's link is here in the chat, guys. So make sure you just click on it, get over there, smash that subscribe button. My link is also there in the chat if you want to get over and smash that subscribe button. You do see Benji on there once a week. You see Diego on there once a week. We do debate shows with the guys. So feel free to get over there and smash the subscribe button and check it out. But look, it's a tough one. It's a tough one because I know what happens when big six teams drop points around us and we're playing last. I know what's going to happen, but you know what? I'm going to stick with the mood I rolled out betting. I'm going to go 3-0 Tottenham. Last year we bet them 5-1 at home. It's going to be a different proposition, I know. But I'm going to go 3-0 Tottenham based on getting a reaction out of them. But guys, we're going to end it there. I'm going to hand you over to Ben. I'm not sure who else is joining them. But guys, enjoy yourself. Make sure you stay tuned for the watch along. But as fucking always, come on, you Spurs.
Come on, you Spurs.
Content we trust.
Peace.